Howdy, y'all. This is another update on the Hurricane Helene. I'll call it recovery because the damage hit last week, and you know, um, the initial reports were that it was going up Florida and then curve to the left and go towards Nashville. And at the last second, instead of curving left, it curved right and went towards Asheville, North Carolina, and it basically stalled right there for 48 hours and dumped a bunch of rain, and that's why they had all the damage. Now, the initial reports about Lake Lure's uh, dam being overtopped, that is true. And the report also that the levee gave way, that's also true. The mayor, I guess he is, of Chimney Rock, North Carolina, said he has been talking about this scenario for 4 to 5 years. He's been asking for a series of reservoirs to be put in because he said, stupid phone went off. He said that the from Lake Lure to Chimney Rock, the river goes through a series of mountains where there's mountains on both sides. And he said what happened and what he's been talking about that he thought would happen, he said, is that the dam would give way and a 20 to 40-foot wall of water would come down the river towards our town. And that's what happened. The dam gave way and a 25-foot tall wall of water came down the mountain, and the water having nowhere to go with the mountain on each side just sped up the rush of the water. And when it got to Chimney Rock, it just devastated that little town. It, okay, I talked about in the first video the one lady that owns the house that's at 200 yards back from the river. And I talked about 200 yards being from here back to the alley. And that now, when she goes out to her yard, which she used to just walk out onto grass, there's a 15 to 20-foot drop off where the wall of water pushed away all that dirt. So now the river is going to come right up to her door. And she said that she wants to rebuild there because she don't want to live anywhere else. And this is a serious thing. You know, we sit here like I live in Montana and I can understand the concept of the locals there in the mountains in North Carolina when they said Hurricane Helene is coming. They've never dealt with hurricanes before. When they said Hurricane Helene is coming, a local said, well, we live up on top of a mountain and we don't ever get hurricanes, so move on. Well, the hurricane went over the top of the lake, sat there, and the water from the torrential downpour, they said an average of 20 inches of water every 24 hours dumped there for 2 days. 2 days. At the end of the second day is when the water from the lake overtopped the dam. And when it did, the dam just gave way and all that water went down the river. There are pictures, and there are a bunch of YouTubers in that area, Yak Motley and Roots and Refuge. She's in South Carolina, but she still got affected by it. And Sow the Land, they are affected by it. So the land has had no power for 7 days. He said, luckily they have generators and they got gas before the storm so they could run generators to secure meat that's in their freezer. But think about this. Think about the people that are up in the mountains that barely above the poverty level, no insurance, their car got washed away, their house got washed away. They literally have nothing, not even their clothes, because their clothes were in their house and the house got washed away. They've lost everything, all their identity, everything is all gone. It's heartbreaking. It's sad. But what's even worse is our government's response. Our government has been using FEMA money, which is for storms like this, to pay illegal aliens hotel rooms in New York. Let that sink in a minute. FEMA has been paying for illegal aliens hotel money and giving them money to buy food and etc. in New York City, and they've been using it from the fund that's supposed to help disasters. Mayorkas should be impeached and removed from office. But I don't see that happening because we have 3 weeks, no, right at 4 weeks until election. And I'm not one to tell others how to vote, but I will tell you how I'm voting. I'm voting for Trump and I'm voting for Republicans because this has been an unmitigated disaster 100 times. How can FEMA, that was given 200, what was it, $600 million at the beginning of the year, they are broke. They have spent $600 million on illegal aliens when that money is supposed to be for disaster relief. Illegal aliens coming here of their own choosing is not disaster relief. It's just not, you know, and this is beyond disgraceful. And then Kamala telling people that have lost their cars, their houses, their clothes, everything. She says, well, we'll give you $750. That's not going to replace a TV. And yet these people have literally nothing. The one lady that I talked about in the first video, she at least has her house. Her house is standing. By the miracle of God, her house is standing. She showed inside where she has watermarks 10 foot up on the ceiling. 10 foot up. I'm 6 foot tall. So if I can reach up my hand like this and reach up 9 feet, a foot above my hand, if I stood up, was the water line. And I just don't understand. And then Senator Tillis, you need to vote him out of office. FEMA has been denying everyone their $750. I have watched numerous reports on YouTube, and there's been reports on TikTok that people are applying for the $750 and everyone is being turned down. And for Senator Tillis to go on TV today and say that FEMA is there, people that are saying FEMA is not there are not from here. He's full of shit. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of reports on YouTube alone showing that the rescue pilots that were taking um, supplies to people, one guy has his own drone service where he delivers packages via drone. He was putting packages on a drone and sending it to an address to get help to people up in the mountains. Pete Buttigieg put a no flight, a TFR, it's called temporary flight restriction, against all drones and all recovery flights. That's just disgraceful. These people are good Samaritans, paying for help for these people out of their own pockets, using their own helicopters. And the one guy using his own drones. And then Pete Buttigieg says, well, you know, we don't want people there unless we tell them they can be there. He's so full of it. After this election, I hope that he crawls off into whatever hole he came out of, because he clearly does not care about the American people. If he did, he would not put a temporary flight restriction on all drones and the like, because people are helping others. People are doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're helping others because they believe in helping others. They believe that, government isn't God, basically. And Pete Buttigieg, he wants them to rely on the government. Well, they don't want to rely on the government. So I'm just upset and furious with these politicians that claim to be for the people, and then they get there and they're against the people. Tom Tillis should resign. Telling people a big lie that FEMA is there to help them when FEMA is turning down people their $750, that's disgraceful. And for him to say, well, the people that are saying that FEMA isn't on the ground is because they aren't here. Well, we don't have to be there. We can turn on YouTube and turn on different news stations that are on YouTube, and we can see what's going on, Mr. Tillis. We don't need to live in North Carolina to find out what's going on. We don't listen to the mainstream press like CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, all of them liberal cabals. We just don't do that. We rely on ourselves, our own devices, to get us what information we need. And rant over. That's all I have for y'all today. Bye now.